If you're running a business or managing a department, and especially if you're responsible for training people, this message is for you. I promise it's worth a few minutes of your time. Hello, my name is Alex Terrego, and I'm the canary in the coal mine with a warning and a solution. Why listen to me? Two reasons. First, I was educated almost exclusively via the Socratic inquiry method, and more on that later. Second, I've had a successful career both in business and as an author using those same Socratic skills. Now I want to share these skills with as many people as I can for this reason. We're all facing an insidious, urgent problem that, unlike climate change, largely goes unnoticed, but which has enormous ramifications for everybody. Before explaining my remedy, let me explain why you should be concerned. First, here's the big picture. Especially here in the USA, we have created an enormous growing chasm between the skill sets our schools are supplying and the skill sets our high school graduates need and employers such as you demand. If any business is suddenly faced with a disruption in its supply of raw materials, it acts promptly to remedy that situation, because the other option is extinction. Well, we are all now facing just such a disruption in our supply of human capital. Are we even paying attention? We should be, because this gap is not going to improve. Why? Because since the 1960s, it has been the law of the land that our public schools must teach a single skill: memorization. Why do they do this? Simple. It's easier and cheaper to test memorization. So, only those curriculum items that can be tested in a multiple choice format are ever taught. The result? In 2018, at the beginning of the largest tectonic socio-economic shift ever, thinking is actively discouraged. You're probably wondering why this shouldn't matter to you. Well, it turns out that this asymmetry between supply and demand is very dangerous for all stakeholders. One, it's dangerous for students who graduate ill-prepared for the new economy, where job substitution is already a major problem. Two, it's dangerous for your business. Why? Because your company no longer needs fact checkers. Now you need critical thinkers, collaborators, problem solvers, and communicators. Three, it's dangerous for the US economy. Why? Because our economy has always depended on the creative destruction of older products and services and the continuous replacement of those older products and services with new ones in a cycle of continuous innovation. And that takes ideators, thinkers, and innovators, not fact checkers. Here's a quote from Bernard Schindelhosler, a vice president at Google, which should give us all pause. "We need to be realistic," he says. "In this new era, no one will hire or promote you because of what you know. Google already knows everything, or will soon." If you think about this statement, the logical inference is both profound and scary, and anyone who runs a business or trains people should take note of it. This is what Schindelhosler is really saying. Employers these days will only hire and promote people who can discover things the company needs to know and doesn't, not those who can memorize. Google's already replaced that function, and artificial intelligence and machine learning are on much steeper learning curves than we are. We humans can't compete with computers on the recall of objective facts. Just ask those Jeopardy champions who got humiliated by IBM's Watson 7 years ago. So the obvious next question is this: how can humans compete with those early stage, even primitive versions of artificial intelligence? The answer: using the art of ideation. Ideation allows us to co-opt new technology for our benefit. So what is ideation? Well, to begin with, it's not a science. And then the best news of all, it's innate. We are all born able to ideate. So ideation is much more suited to wetware than hardware or software. Ideation is the deliberate decision to systematically think about those pesky, subjective problems that have no right or wrong answer. In other words, all of those problems that need to be answered in order to survive, thrive, and evolve. Ideation is the only process by which you can create a culture of continuous innovation. Learning how to apply thinking skills in order to ideate and innovate is the 21st century skill. Not only are American schools, your farm teams, not teaching ideation, they are actively suppressing it. So be selfish, step up and encourage, nourish, and revitalize this innate ability in your teams. The best news of all, it's easy. Here's just how easy it is. The 4 pillars of ideation are critical thinking, collaboration, problem solving, and clear communication. To build these 4 pillars, teams need to learn how to use deep questioning by identifying all the available facts, uncovering as much new information as possible, synthesizing the two, and creating a solution, and then unambiguously communicating that solution. It's as simple as A, B, C, D. A, ask a question. B, answer the question, and whatever you do, don't stop there. C, question that answer, and don't stop there either. D, repeat steps A through C until satisfied. Earlier, I warned of an urgent and dangerous situation for all companies, including yours. Business is competitive and unforgiving of strategic and even tactical errors. The inference from this, only the fittest and most adaptive will survive. The lesson, innovate or die. And that's worth a poster in your conference room. Earlier, I also warned that American shareholders in the US economy, in other words, almost all of us, could also suffer from our educational policies. This is why. China, our biggest competitor, has 5 times more students in schools than the USA, and 1 in 5 undergraduates in the world is Chinese. The Chinese have also vested all decision-making in one man, Xi Jinping, and he's a fierce and strategic competitor. If he decided on any given Friday to stop China's schools from teaching to the tests and instead do as I am suggesting and begin teaching ideation, it will be implemented on Monday throughout China. What do you think would happen to America's and your company's lead in intellectual property? I hope you now agree that ideation is a skill you must teach. How? Get my book. Become the thought leader in your company. Teach ideation. And keep your eyes on my blog for news about my ideation game. Thank you, and keep on ideating.